You're still in that job you complain about every Sunday night. Still dating someone who makes you feel small. Still defending that expensive gadget collecting dust in your closet because it's actually really useful when you need it. Sure, things will get better. That's what you said last year, too. Here's the thing. You know it's bad. Somewhere in your brain, past all the excuses and justifications, you know. And yet, you keep defending it. You keep explaining why it makes sense. You keep telling yourself, and anyone who listens, that you made the right call. Why? Not because you're stupid, not because you lack information, but because your brain is running a very specific program designed to protect something far more important than the truth: you. Today, we're answering one of psychology's most uncomfortable questions. Why do intelligent people defend decisions they know are wrong? And why does being smarter sometimes make it worse? Let's start with an experiment that reveals just how fragile human reasoning actually is. In the 1950s, psychologist Leon Festinger studied a doomsday cult. They believed the world would end on a specific date. They quit their jobs, sold their possessions, said goodbye to family. Then the date came, and nothing happened. So they admitted they were wrong, right? Wrong. They doubled down. The group decided their faith had saved the world. Their belief actually became stronger after being proven false. Festinger called this cognitive dissonance, the psychological discomfort you feel when your beliefs clash with reality. And here's the key part. Your brain is deeply motivated to get rid of that discomfort. But here's what most people miss. The brain often doesn't resolve dissonance by changing behavior. It resolves it by changing beliefs. Think about that. You don't fix the problem. You fix how you think about the problem. You buy an expensive course that turns out to be garbage. Do you admit you wasted money? No. You convince yourself it had some useful insights. You say, it wasn't for everyone, but I got value from it. You didn't change the outcome. You edited the story. Because admitting you made a bad choice creates psychological tension your brain would rather avoid. Your brain isn't interested in truth. It's interested in consistency, and it will happily warp reality to get it.
Now let's add another trap, the sunk cost fallacy. You've spent 2 years in a degree you hate, 6 months in a relationship that's clearly going nowhere, hundreds of hours on a project that's failing. Logically, you should quit. The time is gone. It's not coming back. Future decisions should be based on future value, not past investment. But you don't quit. Because quitting means admitting all that time was wasted. And admitting waste feels like losing twice. So you stay. You invest more. You tell yourself you're too far in to stop now. As if driving further in the wrong direction somehow makes the destination better. Economists call this irrational. Psychologists call it predictable. You call it seeing it through. Here's the cruel part. The more you've invested, the harder it becomes to walk away. Every extra day, dollar, or ounce of effort raises the emotional cost of leaving. You're not staying because it's working. You're staying because leaving would require admitting everything up to this point was a mistake. And at this point, quitting would mean admitting you were wrong, and we absolutely cannot have that. Now, let's talk about what's happening in your brain when someone challenges a belief you've tied to a bad decision. Brain imaging studies show that when people are confronted with information that contradicts their beliefs, especially beliefs tied to identity, regions involved in emotional distress, conflict monitoring, and threat detection become more active, not the calm, analytical parts of the brain we like to imagine ourselves using. In other words, being wrong doesn't just feel bad as a metaphor. Challenging a deeply held belief can trigger the same systems the brain uses to respond to stress and perceived threat. Not because you're actually in danger, but because your brain treats threats to identity as something that needs to be handled immediately. This is why arguing with someone about a bad decision often feels personal, because psychologically, it is. You're not just questioning a choice, you're challenging how they see themselves. And once that threat response is active, reason takes a back seat. The goal is no longer to figure out what's true. The goal is to reduce discomfort. So you dig in. You find new reasons. You reframe the narrative. You get creative with your justifications. Not because you're lying, but because your brain is trying to restore balance. Your brain isn't asking, are they right? It's saying, this feels bad. Make it stop.
Now, let's stack all of this together. You make a bad decision, let's say a career move. Cognitive dissonance kicks in immediately. It's a learning experience. The timing is right. I have a good feeling about this. 6 months later, it's clearly not working. But now, sunk cost enters the chat. I can't quit now. I've already invested 6 months. I just need to give it more time. Then, someone close to you suggests it might have been a mistake. Your brain registers this as a threat. Now, you're not just defending the decision, you're defending yourself. You don't understand the full picture. There are things happening behind the scenes. It's more complicated than you think. At this point, you're no longer arguing about the job. You're arguing about whether you're the kind of person who makes good choices. And that is a battle your ego will never let you lose. Because this is the real engine behind all of it, your self-image. You don't see yourself as someone who makes bad decisions. You're smart, thoughtful, careful. So when a decision goes wrong, admitting it doesn't just mean you made a mistake. It means you might not be who you think you are, and that's unacceptable. So you defend not the decision, but yourself. The decision becomes a proxy war for your identity. This is why intelligent people often defend bad decisions more aggressively than others. They have more at stake. Their identity is wrapped up in being the smart one, the strategic thinker, the person who sees what others don't. When reality challenges that identity, the defense mechanisms don't just activate, they go nuclear. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Intelligence doesn't protect you from bad decisions. In many cases, it makes defending them easier. Because when you're smart, you're better at rationalizing. You can build more elaborate justifications. You can explain the bad decision in ways that sound reasonable, even impressive. Your intelligence doesn't save you. It arms your ego with better weapons. The dumbest person and the smartest person can make the same bad choice. Emotions play a significant role in our decision-making. The amygdala, which handles fear, anxiety, and emotional responses, kicks in during these challenging moments. It fights against admitting we were wrong, leading us to uphold incorrect beliefs to avoid feelings of loss and rejection. But let's dig deeper. The motivation behind defending bad decisions often stems from a fear of vulnerability. The social implications of admitting a mistake can be daunting, as we may worry about judgment or the impact on our relationships. Let's consider the neuroscience further. Research has shown that when we articulate reasons for our decisions, the brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. This mechanism reinforces the justification process, making it harder to break from a flawed belief system. What do you do with this? I'm not going to tell you to be more self-aware or check your biases. That's not how this works. Because chances are you are defending a bad decision right now without knowing it. Maybe it's small, maybe it's life-altering, but somewhere in your life there's a choice you're clinging to, not because it's working, but because letting go would mean admitting you were wrong, and your brain would rather rewrite reality than let that happen. So here's the question I'll leave you with. What are you defending that you should be walking away from? And more importantly, would you even recognize it if someone told you? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating insights into human psychology.